sitting here and listening.
Yeah. Well, the Pixel conference, we will get started. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. Welcome
Hey.
to Tech Talks. I'm Victor, here with Julie. And today we have the Pixel conference that when we went over the Google conference. And well, this time around, it was a lot smaller of an event than they had last year. You remember last year they had like the
I didn't watch it either year,
either
but
year.
from what you've told me,
Or maybe
last year it was.
maybe we looked at a different Google conference. We looked at a conference here on the show, and it was the Google conference where they talked about the
I
new
don't
AI,
remember.
the artificial
Oh
intelligence
yeah.
stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, I do remember that now that you say it. You did show me clips. You're
Yeah,
right. That might have been like
that
the spring,
yeah. I don't think that was the
a full year
last
ago.
Pixel conference, but we do have the Pixel 3s. Like we know a bit about Google and its products and stuff. And but this year they had a lot smaller of a venue when it comes to their announcements of these products, and they didn't really go over a lot of specs or detail in the conference itself.
From the briefing you gave me, it sounds like it was very lackluster compared to Apple's. And wasn't there another one just after Apple or just before?
The Microsoft Surface
That
one.
was it.
Yeah, it was. I'd say kind of lackluster, and that after doing some research as to the Pixel 4, it's actually to me kind of disappointing.
Oh,
So we'll start off with Google. The start of the conference, they announced the Stadia, which is Google's gaming system.
is it a streamed
Yeah,
service?
that's the streaming service where you have to buy the game.
Buy the streaming access to the game, or do you still own it? How does
The
that work?
access, the game access is free. Like, and there's a premium version, and then there's the free version. So the Google Stadia effectively is no charge for accessing the service outside of getting the controller. Um, the controller is the main thing that you would have to buy.
So Stadia is like a pass to sort of like a curated like selection of games. It's not per game.
It's a storefront, yeah.
Well, I realize that it's a storefront.
But yeah, you don't get a curated access to anything. It's just the storefront where you just go, you buy a game, and then you can stream that game to
Okay,
any
but what I
device.
don't understand is when you say you buy a game,
Yeah.
what if like this Stadia fails, or if the internet, like, do you have any kind of other copy of the game, or is it
No.
all just on the internet and you can only stream it, and then if
Yeah.
something happens to that service it's no longer your game even though you paid for it? So you're
Exactly.
basically just paying to
You're paying for a license.
unlimited rental of the game.
Yes, which in theory is technically how all of the services work nowadays, unless you're getting like a physical copy of a game. A lot
I'm
of these
still
digital
partial.
downloads. But
Yeah.
the digital downloads, at least you have the download, and people can work with that.
True. At least the
Um,
download. Can you put a download on like a jump drive?
yeah, you can put it in a jump drive and move it around, but it still has this key that is recognized with it. So I couldn't just take let's say we
Well,
have
you
Steam, for
right.
instance. I couldn't just take a game, install it onto your computer, and then it would play. It would still need to go through Steam, through the DRM system to figure out whether this is a legit game and whether you legit have a copy of the game on your Steam. Otherwise, it won't let you play
So you do need the internet to get clearance basically on a
it.
new device with the game.
And for Stadia, you need the internet the whole time because
Mm-hmm.
you're streaming the game. You have no digital download version of it or anything like that.
But again, like in all these rural places where the internet is not yet feasible.
Yeah, it's not going to be great there. And not to mention, there's a lot of skepticism to see, even if you do have good internet, the latency is still there. There's
Yeah.
still a latency, like, I mean, just just even streaming within my own household, like we stream games between like the Steam Link or the PlayStation to the phone, things like that. There's still a latency of like a few milliseconds, which is definitely noticeable. And streaming from wherever servers are across the country or across different cities to wherever you are, I have yet to see the technology to see that latency not be a factor. But Google claims that they are using predictive, like controller prediction and all sorts of things to help minimize that. We'll see
Mm,
how it goes, but between that and also not having a physical copy of the game that you're paying $60 for,
yeah.
or $100 for like the gold editions, like the complete editions and stuff of games.
Yeah, I'd rather be patient, like go get the physical copy or order it through the mail, whatever, that way, and actually
Yeah,
have that reliable
yeah, I
hard.
think sticking with
Yeah.
Steam is
Well,
like how we're gonna go. Like if you can get
it's
it,
your choice.
yeah. Like I don't the having the hard disk would be nice, but
I'm not a big gamer, so I'm the last game I bought I think was Minecraft. And so we just went to Target and but we looked online first
yeah.
and I was not pleased
But
that
that
way,
was that was
so
the Nintendo Switch's one, Minecraft one that we got, which
we
also
well we
has very
didn't
terrible download requirements.
mm,
Because Nintendo Switch download, you can't share your downloads or anything like that, like your online purchases, like you can in the physical disc. On computer, it's not as big of a deal because not a lot of people are sharing their computer disc, and also with Steam, you can share your library with your friends anyways. So there's a lot more wiggle room that people are okay with.
that is nice that on Steam you can share it with your friends. I've forgotten that you had done that with me, right?
Yeah,
I've used it a few.
it's fine because also anytime that you're using it, then I can't use it. Like I can't use
That
any game
makes
in my
sense.
library.
But
But yeah,
still,
it is nice
that's
to
nice.
have that option. But
I
so
didn't mean to
Stadia,
though.
they announced is coming out November 19th.
Oh, it's not out yet.
No, they
November
find this is the
19th.
first we've heard of a
Okay.
release date for Stadia. And personally, I think Stadia, if Google watches this for the two viewers that it gets, um,
Some
the
of them. Well, anyways.
the if you work out a deal with Steam and Windows, and other game stores, where if they buy a copy on their site and that they could stream it through your platform, I think that would be the best of both worlds situation. Because there's a lot of times where you want to play a game and you want to like you don't want you just want to sit on your couch or something, and with all your latency tech that'd be great,
Yeah.
but
Sounds it.
um yeah, I don't know of as a standalone platform how much I like that idea.
Nope.
Another thing I was thinking actually is Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo, they should get together with these streaming, like, because there's a PlayStation app for streaming your games from your PlayStation to any of your devices, like your computer or your phone. There's a Steam Link app for the Steam devices. I'm sure Windows is either have something. I think Windows has from Xbox to PC and PC. But if they get from Xbox to like phone, if they get an app too, Nintendo, you could work with them to get the app on your store so that, we could use that to stream, because that'd be cool too. Like, even though you don't have the power, Nintendo Switch doesn't have the power to get these full-sized games, they could at least stream it from other devices, because a lot of people do have both, like either a PlayStation and a Switch or an Xbox and a Switch.
Be neat. All right.
Anyways, moving on. Sorry that wasn't much about the Google event. The Pixel Buds. They're coming out with a new version of the Pixel Buds. Last year, when they announced the Pixel 3, they announced the Pixel Buds that had like that cord that went behind your ear and the
Wrapped around your neck.
yeah
Well,
wrapped
not
around
around, but around the
wrapped around.
back.
Yeah, this year they have Pixel Buds that are more like the Apple AirPods. So it's just like a little round thing that looks a lot like the Surface round headphones, but even smaller, and they just pop in your ear. And they have like a little case, very much like the AirPods, that they fit in. And so they said that it has charging of 5 hours per use, and then the case is a battery charger as well that has an additional 24 hours of battery storage
That's nice.
that will charge them when they're put in there. So those are cool, and they're priced more closer to the AirPods, which I think are the AirPods are like 199 or maybe they are 179 as well, but these are 179. So not too bad for like those
Quick
wireless.
charging?
Those I would assume that it has USB-C. I don't know about quick charging. I also but they also have the Google Assistant features built in. So auto translate, auto text to speech, everything.
That's nice. That I would like those features.
Yeah. So that was I think the AirPods or the Pixel Buds, whatever they're calling them, are actually the best that they announced today, and those aren't even coming out till middle like spring next year.
Oh.
Uh then they announced or then they went on about talking about how they're trying to be more sustainable. So the Google minis that they're coming out with are made out of recycled plastic and everything. They just wanted to I don't know, go with that whole sustainability thing.
That's good.
They announced the Pixelbook Go, which is a more lightweight version of the Pixelbook, which I thought the Pixelbook was pretty lightweight as it is, but I guess you have more options now. I'm not exactly sure what it's trying to do. It's a Chromebook. It's, I assume, cheaper. I'd have to double check actually that real fast.
Go. It's smaller.
I think so. Let's just double check. It's starting at $649, so it is a few $100 shy of the Pixelbook, which I believe is $999. So
Up to 12 hours of battery life.
yeah, it's. I mean, it's a Pixelbook. You know what you're getting with the Pixelbook. They didn't there was not a lot of new features with it outside of just the hardware.
Okay. What's next?
Then they started going into the Nest ecosystem. And we talked about this actually a little bit ago, is how there was an article talking about how the third-party extensions for the Nest ecosystem are becoming outdated because they switched over. Well, now here they announced that they are actually working with these third-party developers to get their systems onto the new system that Google is using. But they are focused on security, so they have to go through security checks and there's things like that. But in general, they are working on that, is what they're saying, and they are working on getting those third-party apps into the new ecosystem that Nest is using with Google. They also talked about the Google Wi-Fi, which they have a wireless router and a modem that is paired with that. So you get a modem and a wireless router, very much like most people already get, but this is Google's brand. It comes with a very easy user interface to deal with. You use the Home app, which we've been using for the Pixel, or not the Pixel, the Home Mini, which is now called the Nest Mini. They're rebranding that as well. And the Home Mini essentially, or the Wi-Fi, they make it easier to control. Like you can set, kids times. You could tell Google's to shut off the Wi-Fi, and essentially you get a lot of features added to your Google Assistant that it can do more with your stuff. And also with the rest of the Nest ecosystem, it just makes synergy more useful. What I thought the coolest part was the access points. Right now, with Wi-Fi, when you want to boost your signal throughout the house, you get boosters, but essentially those boosters are just creating a separate Wi-Fi signal,
Oh, so
and then
you
you have
switch
different
between
networks.
them, not seamlessly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the phone should do that seamlessly, but it gets hung up, like switching
I've
between networks
experienced
between
that
what
at the
is.
gym.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so like I from what I understand, the using if you had multiple Wi-Fi points, you could just use that and it creates one seamless network
That
without having
would
to
be
switch
nice.
between the points.
I'm excited about that. I like that.
That would be a
I
really
mean,
cool.
if we were getting
Now,
it, that I
Google
guess is
did have this
okay.
already in existence, but now I think like now they're just taking that, which I think most people didn't even know existed, and they're rebranding it under the Nest brand.
Okay. It is a better, I think, name for it, and so maybe
Hmm.
if they're really best that way
And
and
then
built it up.
they talked about other Nest features like the Nest Camera, where you could get like some sort of subscription for service for online connectivity for the Nest cameras, and um, various other things about the Nest group. But the other big thing that they announced was the Pixel 4, and we might sound like we're going through a lot of this pretty fast, but they did too. Like they did, there wasn't much detail
You said
in
they were
any of this.
displaced by.
I don't know.
Oh,
Like so
you were
that's why I was
hypothesizing?
hypothesizing because they're in New York this time around. Usually they're in LA.
And Los Angeles has recently had to be evacuated in part because of fires.
They have had to, but there's still a lot of people there. So I don't
We
like
don't know.
we don't know because a lot of if they have like an event like this, a lot of things these things are planned months in advance. So
Yeah,
like
it
this was
seems like
pretty.
they still should have had more if they were in anyways.
Yeah, like I think this was to me it seems more like Google was like making this kind of a slow year. There wasn't a lot to announce. I think they have
Well, and if they did that one in the spring that was bigger too.
but that was more of a developer conference talking about their software that they're working on.
True.
And here there was also mostly just software, but things that we already learned about in the developer conference. So the Assistant 2.0 is what they like now that the Pixel 4 is coming out. That's what they're advertising with the Pixel 4 is that Assistant 2.0 that doesn't have to connect to the internet, that doesn't have to or to do basic tasks. They call it like a hybrid system. It has your diction, like the language diction library built into the phone, so that so it doesn't need to connect online in order to recognize what you're saying, which is really cool. Like the definitely the coolest thing that they've talked about, but it's something that we've already heard about. And I'm excited for it to come to Pixels, and I assume that it's going to be coming to Pixel 3 as well. Well, but again, the Pixel 4, as we'll go over, just doesn't is kind of lackluster though. So the Pixel 4, the biggest features are that Assistant 2.0. They have motion sense, then they have face unlock, and those are the big like features that they're talking about. The motion thing was actually might be handy in some situations, like when you're trying to turn off your like snooze your alarm, you can just swipe your hand over your phone.
That could also be a problem. I could do that in my sleep all morning long.
And they also the specs of it were increased. So there is the OLED display, which is and they have a bit higher resolution, but they also said that it is going to be a 90 hertz display, which if you're a power user, you'll definitely feel the difference between the regular displays, which I believe are at 60 hertz, and the 90 hertz display. It just makes it feel smoother.
Okay.
And they, along with the Assistant 2.0, they announced a new audio recorder that they're going to be coming out with, which I thought was really cool. It's an audio recorder, it records your audio, but it also live transcribes it as you're speaking into it. Thus, everything is on a transcript, and so when you want to search for something, you can search for specific words within the audio recording, and it will find them.
And then you can just jump to that spot in the audio recording?
Yeah, it'll highlight where in the audio recording. It'll first show like a list of recordings that have those words or that word that you're looking for.
That
and
is
then
nice.
it'll highlight where in the audio recording it is, and you can jump to it. And just things like that is able to computerize physical or
it's like a multi-sensory cross.
Yeah, digitizing
search.
all the sensory systems is actually really good. Like if they start they're digitizing visual stuff, they're digitizing audio stuff.
Yeah.
And making it so that you can easily find whatever you need.
Either by picture, by word, or that. No,
Yeah.
that is very nice. That is actually really big and useful, and actually, I feel that you kind of undersold it.
It's cool, but again, it is just the combination of the Assistant 2.0 language diction being put onto the phone.
It's not big and flashy,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be long term, pretty.
Yeah, it is
pretty
a good
impactful
feature.
long term, more than just some run of the mill phone, another old flagship.
Yeah, and like it being or the whole language library, or your language being built on the phone itself instead of needing to be connected to online so that it can recognize you. That is the fundamental part as to why these things are happening.
You know what else will be great? If this newer assistant can help us with so many of those things that I asked Google to do a thing and it says, "I'm sorry, I can't help with that."
That I don't know if it'll do.
You don't think it'll do some of those things?
Because that's mostly when it has to connect online, and if it can't do it now when it's connected online, then it won't do that when it's connected online.
But if they would update that even when it is connected, even if it's not part of the 2.0 disconnected version, if they could update the part that when it is connected online and when I say search for this, do it, please. That's what you're there for.
Then they start talking about the cameras, and so they took away the wide angle camera from the front of the phone.
Okay.
And they put 2 cameras on the back of the phone instead of just the one.
So, sorry. Whew. Okay, so they took away the one on the front.
That's the wide angle.
The wide angle one that lets you take wide angle selfies. Yeah. Okay. And then they added a second one to the back?
They added a second camera to the back, but it is a telephoto.
What does that mean?
Essentially it has it's able to zoom better.
How much?
Well,
really well?
This is let's see if I can pull up an example here.
And is that the primary? Because I don't know why they would get rid of the wide angle.
I don't know why either.
There were definitely some times, like when I was at that bachelorette party recently, and it was like 7 bridesmaids, so we're trying to get like 8 of us in a row in the picture. I was the only one that was able to do that because I had that wide angle selfie camera thing. It's okay if you can't find the specs. That's fine. But I mean, that's cool too. And I mean, ultimately, I guess if it's this or that, I might prefer the telephoto, and some people might, but not everyone.
Here's the thing: like, we have the iPhone that just announced the iPhone 11 Pro just announced 3 cameras on the back and 1 camera on the front. And
you can use them simultaneously.
You can use them simultaneously, but even the camera on the front is also a 12 megapixel camera, along with the 3 in the back. Here again, the camera on the front is your standard 8 megapixel.
Oh.
And your cameras on their back are a 12 megapixel and a 16 megapixel.
So why did the Google stop caring about having the best camera? I really liked their camera on the 2. Well, I liked it on the 2 and the 3. Honestly, I kind of like the 2 better. The processor on the 3 has been slow, but the wide angle has had its days.
The wide angle I thought was very useful, and we even talked.
Yosemite.
Yeah, we even
got some great pictures.
Talked
there.
about it on the here before where Google seemed like they looked at data, they noticed that a lot of people didn't use the wide angle on the back, but they used it on the front, and this kind of confirms that. But then they took it away from the front, and it makes no sense to me why they would do that, because it was good. That was a good feature. Like, you're taking away a feature, and it's not in order to do this, because there's been other phones that have done this just as well.
What you're saying is there's still a wide angle, but now
no, there's no wide angle on the Pixel.
Not even on the back at all?
No, it's a telephoto and a regular camera.
Okay.
And they even made a joke about we didn't think you need to wide angle as much as telephoto. And like we already had like wide angle on the front like that, and then B, there's a good chance that your next phone is going to have wide angle, so you're just making fun of yourself in the future trying to make a jab at Apple for having a wide angle lens. You have like,
it just makes
giving
no
more
sense,
options
really.
is always better than giving less options.
Yeah, I really don't understand why they would take it away.
They like I think, especially with the camera bump, if you looked at the Pixel 4, it has the same large square that the iPhone 11 Max has.
Well, I don't even care about things like that. I don't care about how it looks. I
It's
care
not
about
that-
how it works.
It's not that that's how it looks, it's that there is, like, in the same space, iPhone 11 Max was able to get 3 cameras.
Okay, yes, yeah, okay.
So
I
it's
see
not
what
like
you're-
they're compromising anything
Yeah.
here, or there's any need for compromising.
Okay, you're right. This is lackluster, and I don't know exactly how like an 8 megapixel compares to a 12. I've been really happy with my camera on my Pixel 3,
Yeah.
and especially on the 2. But
this is supposed to be
an
next to
advancement.
this is supposed to be this is going to be
Progression.
facing up against the iPhone 11 Pro,
I
and
don't
it's
even-
not coming close to it. Like that, yes, the software is amazing, and the photos that it takes might be better than the iPhone's photos that it takes normally. But iPhones, you have more versatility now,
What's sad?
which before,
Oh, God.
even though like before, the Pixel versatility was very similar to the iPhone versatility. Even with the big thing, what started this, I think the iPhone 2 was the one that everybody was talking about, the self-portraits, and they were blurring the background.
Right,
And that was like a big thing. And then iPhone was like, we could do that, you have 2 cameras with the telephoto, because that's when they first introduced the telephoto. So with the normal lens and telephoto lens, it's able to figure out the background and the foreground. And then Google was like, we could just do that with software, and so we only need 1 camera. And that kind of put Apple in its place. Like, that was a time when just having more cameras wasn't necessarily useful. But since then, people have been taking these cameras, like the wide angles, the telephotos, and the normal camera, like this whole all the camera systems have been doing really creative stuff with it, and you're just limiting their options.
Yeah. No, I think I'm gonna skip the Pixel 4. I mean, honestly, if I were to buy another new phone this next year, which I don't need one, so I probably won't, I would probably get an iPhone, even though I don't actually really like iPhone and I don't have an Apple account or anything even.
Yeah.
But their phone this next year is better than...
And then it doesn't... there's a few other things that kind of grind my gears. We just saw that Family Guy episode. The battery on the regular Pixel 4 is smaller than the battery on the Pixel 3, the regular Pixel 3.
Why would they do that?
No idea. It's not much. It's like probably not even noticeable. It's 2,800 milliamps versus 2,900 milliamps.
Until you need it, and then you notice it and you are not happy.
But I just...
It
there
makes no
is no
sense.
fingerprint sensor anymore.
What?
Not even under the glass like a lot of phones are starting to do with
So there's no now
it's only face unlock.
I don't like the face unlock too. As a girl who grew up with my sister, who was able to like people would mix us up, and then like I had a voice unlock password thing, which was not high tech at all back in the day. The 90s we're talking of. But she was able to unlock my supposedly like secure voice lock thing with her voice.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine twins, this face unlock thing is just trash. Why would you even want it?
The other thing is there's no more pixel buds in the out of the phone, like out of the box. So we came out. It gave us USB-C pixel buds for headphones.
Yeah, and now it's not even putting those in the box.
Nope, for the same price.
Okay, I think I've heard enough about the Pixel 4.
One good thing is
Okay.
all right. The couple good things though is you do get a faster processor. You get 6 GB of RAM versus 4 GB of RAM.
All right, that's good too.
And the better screen, with the higher refresh rate.
I mean, yeah, those things are nice, but I still don't understand why they're taking away.
Yeah, it seems like they took away more here than they're giving. So now you have a Pixel that has less features but is on par with the specs. While last year you had a Pixel that had good features but was not spec on par. And just a side note, apparently the Pixel 4 is not available in India because the sensor that they use for the motion detection
Oh yeah?
is a banned like wavelength or something in India that they don't let. So I guess the Pixel 4a is not going to have that from what I've heard, so that they can sell those in India, but the Pixel 4 is not available in India. Not that that affects us, but just another like random tidbit that I don't know, just for some reason it just doesn't like I don't know, they missed the mark, and I think they missed it on a crucial time period too, because with Windows doing good things and Apple stepping up its phone game at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that the hardware sales on this is gonna plummet, and who knows if they will, like Google can be finicky. Who knows if they will put the ample research and time into upgrading the Pixel 5, or if that starts dying off like they did with their tablets. Like last year they had a tablet they announced, and within a few months they already canceled their tablet because it wasn't selling. And so it was just, I don't know. It was not as great of a conference for the Pixel 4. And the earbuds, though, look pretty cool. So that would be something that I'd be into. And I guess if for some reason our phones break in the next year and we need some sort of other phone,
I'd probably try to find a Pixel 2 or a Pixel 3 again, actually.
Yeah.
Do they still sell those?
Yeah, they still sell them.
Yeah, I'd probably just get one of them. Honestly, the 3's been okay, and the wide angle has been like, but
there's also like other Androids that
Samsungs. I've liked Samsungs.
Have been good. I kind of wish that Pixel still, or the Google still had their Android versions of these. Like there used to be back, I think, on the S4 or S5, where instead of getting a like the Samsung version of the S4, Samsung had an Android version of the S4 where like they're both Android, but this was the pure Android system on it, like the Pixel operating system on a S4. And I thought that was cool, but they stopped doing that now that they have their own stuff. So.
Oh well. So that's the news?
That's the news. And it was a bit shorter this time around, but again, the conference wasn't like, there wasn't really much to it. Unless you were in New York and you got to see the stuff yourself. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and please like and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.
Have a good one.